I'm Richard. I'm 82 years old, and I'm going to tell you about the biggest mistake of my life. It wasn't a business decision. It wasn't a financial choice. It was a woman I left behind 58 years ago, and not a single day has passed where I haven't thought about her. You see, in 1967, I was 24 years old, and I got drafted to Vietnam. I didn't want to go. Nobody wanted to go. But back then, you didn't have a choice. Your country called and you answered. So I packed my bag, kissed my mother goodbye, and shipped off to a jungle on the other side of the world to fight a war I didn't understand. I was terrified every single day. The movies don't show you what war really feels like. The constant fear, the sleepless nights, the sound of gunfire that never really leaves your head. I saw things no 24-year-old should ever see. I lost friends. I lost pieces of myself that I never got back. But in the middle of all that darkness, I found light. Her name was Catherine. She was a nurse at the field hospital in Da Nang. I met her after I took shrapnel to my leg during a patrol. Nothing life-threatening, just enough to land me in that hospital for 3 weeks. The first time I saw her, she was changing the bandages on the soldier in the bed next to mine. She had this way of moving, calm and steady, like the chaos around her couldn't touch her. And when she finally came to check on me, she looked at my chart and said, "Private Mitchell, you're going to be fine, but you need to stop trying to be a hero." I remember laughing, actually laughing, in the middle of a war zone. I couldn't remember the last time I had laughed before that. Those 3 weeks in that hospital were the happiest of my entire time in Vietnam. Catherine would come by during her breaks. We'd talk about everything and nothing. She told me about growing up in Vermont, about how she wanted to be a teacher, but became a nurse because she felt called to help, about her little brother who wrote her letters every week, about the life she wanted when this war was over. And I told her things I'd never told anyone, about my fears, about the guilt I felt for surviving when my friends didn't, about how I wasn't sure I'd ever feel normal again. She didn't try to fix me, she just listened. And sometimes that's all you need. Someone who sees your broken pieces and doesn't run away. One night, about 2 weeks into my stay, there was a rocket attack on the base. Everyone was scrambling for cover, and in the chaos, Catherine grabbed my hand and we ran together to the bunker. We sat there in the dark, explosions shaking the ground above us, and she looked at me and said, "Richard, if we make it through tonight, promise me something." I said, "Anything." She said, "Promise me you'll find me after this war. Promise me this isn't just here." And I promised. I held her hand in that bunker, and I promised her I would find her, that what we had was real, that the war would end and we would begin. We had 1 more week together before I was sent back to my unit. The morning I left, she gave me a photograph of herself. On the back, she'd written her address in Vermont and the words, "I'll be waiting." I carried that photograph in my breast pocket for the next 14 months. Through firefights and ambushes, through monsoons and endless patrols, through the worst moments of my life. And every time I felt like giving up, I'd take out that photograph and remember that someone was waiting for me, that there was a life after this. I made it home. March 1969. I stepped off that plane and I was alive. So many weren't, but I was here. And the first thing I should have done was get on a bus to Vermont, but I didn't. You see, when I got back, everything was different. The country had changed. People didn't welcome us home as heroes. They called us baby killers. They spat at us. They looked at us like we were monsters. And I was so broken from what I'd seen, so lost and confused, that I just wanted to disappear. My family wanted me to move on, forget about Vietnam, forget about everything that happened there. My father sat me down and said, "Son, whatever happened over there, leave it over there. You need to come back to reality. You need to get a job, find a nice local girl, build a normal life." And there was a local girl, Sarah. We'd known each other since high school. She was safe. She was familiar. She didn't ask questions about the war. She didn't want to know what I'd seen. She just wanted the Richard she remembered from before. So I convinced myself that what I'd felt with Catherine was just the war. Just adrenaline and fear and proximity. I told myself it wasn't real love. It couldn't be. You can't fall in love in a field hospital in the middle of a jungle. That's not how life works. I was a coward. I was too afraid to chase something real, so I settled for something safe. I married Sarah 3 months after I came home, and I never wrote to Catherine, not once. I left her there in Vermont, waiting for a letter that would never come, waiting for a promise that I broke. For 58 years, I've lived with that. Don't get me wrong, Sarah was a good wife. We had 2 children together. We built a life. But there was always something missing, a piece of my heart that I'd left behind in that hospital in Da Nang, and Sarah knew. I think she always knew. She'd catch me sometimes staring at nothing, lost in thought. And she'd get this look in her eyes, this quiet sadness, like she knew she was sharing me with a ghost. I kept Catherine's photograph for years, hidden in a box in the garage with my other Vietnam things I couldn't throw away but couldn't bear to look at. And every few years, I'd find myself out there, holding that photograph, reading those words on the back. "I'll be waiting." I tried to find her once, in 1985. Sarah and I were going through a rough patch, and I was feeling, lost. And I thought, maybe if I could just know what happened to her, if I could just see that she was happy, maybe I could finally let go. I hired a private investigator. It took him 3 weeks. He found her. She had never married. Let that sink in. She never married. She'd gone back to Vermont after the war, became a teacher like she'd always wanted, spent her life helping children. But she never married. The investigator couldn't tell me why, but I knew. Deep in my gut, I knew. She had waited, and I never came. I didn't contact her. I couldn't. What would I say? "I'm sorry I broke your heart 20 years ago, but I've been thinking about you. I'm sorry I chose fear over love. I'm sorry I let society and my family and my own cowardice destroy the best thing that ever happened to me." So I did nothing. Again, I let another chance slip away. I went home to Sarah and I tried harder to be a good husband. Tried to bury Catherine so deep that maybe I could finally forget. But you don't forget someone like that. You carry them with you forever, in every quiet moment, in every song that reminds you of them, in every sunset that looks like the ones you watched together. Sarah passed away 7 years ago. And after the funeral, after everyone went home, I went out to the garage and I found that photograph. Faded now, worn around the edges. But Catherine's face still clear, still beautiful, still waiting. I tried to find her again last year. I needed to know if she was still alive, if maybe even after all this time I could tell her I was sorry. She died in 2019, pancreatic cancer. She was 76 years old. She died alone, never married, No children, just a community that loved her and students whose lives she'd changed. And I will carry that with me until my last breath. Here's what I need you to understand. The safe choice isn't always the right choice. The path that everyone expects you to take isn't always the path you should take. Sometimes the crazy thing, the scary thing, the thing that doesn't make sense, that's exactly what you should do. I chose safety. I chose fear. I chose what my family wanted, what society expected, what felt comfortable. And I lost the love of my life. Catherine deserved better. She deserved a man who would cross the country for her, who would fight for her the way she fought for those soldiers in that hospital, who would keep his promises. And I deserved to be brave. I deserved to chase something real, even if it was scary, even if people didn't understand. I deserved to see what life would have looked like with someone who truly saw me. But I threw it away because I was young and broken and too scared to take a chance. If you're watching this and you're in love with someone, tell them. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't let fear talk you out of it. Don't convince yourself that what you feel isn't real just because it's inconvenient or complicated or scary. If you made a promise to someone, keep it, even when it's hard. Even when everyone around you's telling you to do something else, your word is all you really have. And if you've already made my mistake, if there's someone from your past that you let go and they're still alive, reach out. Write the letter, make the call, say what you should have said years ago. You might not get another chance. I keep Catherine's photograph on my nightstand now, right next to the lamp. I look at it every morning when I wake up and every night before I sleep. And I talk to her. I tell her about my day. I tell her I'm sorry. I tell her that she deserved everything and I gave her nothing. Some people believe we'll see our loved ones again when we die. I don't know if that's true. But if it is, if I get to see Catherine on the other side, I know exactly what I'll say. I should have come to Vermont. I should have been brave. I should have chosen you. And I'm sorry it took me dying to finally get there. I'm Richard. I'm 82 years old. I fought in a war and survived. But the battle I lost was the one against my own fear. Don't make my mistake. Love boldly. Promise carefully. And when you find someone who sees the real you, someone who holds your hand in the bunker while the world explodes around you, don't you ever let them go. Time is shorter than you think, and regret is heavier than you can imagine. If this meant something to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment. Tell me your story. And if there's someone you've been meaning to call, someone you let slip away, do it today, not tomorrow, today. Some letters can't wait any longer. Some of them are already 58 years too late.